Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes, where we are going to take a look at a very small expansion for a very small but wonderful card game. Now the card game is Sea Salt and Paper, and I've covered this previously on the channel, so if you'd like to check out the link wherever it is appearing on your screen, or check out the channel, and you'll be able to find out all about this wonderful game and how to play it. And you will also be able to find the first expansion as well on the channel, which is the Extra Salt expansion. And again, click on the link or have a look on the channel for that. But today we are going to be taking a look at the brand new Sea Salt and Paper Extra Pepper expansion for this wonderful game. Now inside this sort of booster pack style little expansion pack, you are going to find 12 cards and the rules as well. Now this expansion really changes up the game, adding event cards to the game. So let's take a look at what you get in the game, how to set it up, and how each of these cards works when you integrate this wonderful expansion into your main game. Well, here we have the Sea Salt and Paper Extra Pepper expansion, the follow-on to the Extra Salt expansion, and how interesting this one is. So it's similar, very small package. There are 12 cards included, so let's take a quick look at them. So here are the 12 cards you get in the game. Now this time for this expansion, what we have is a 12 card event deck that we can add to the game. Now to add these to the game, you would simply take all 12 event cards, give them a good old shuffle, and then place these down onto the table to form the event deck. That's your setup all done, all quick and easy. And how do you use this expansion? Well, at the start of each round, you reveal the top card in the event deck to find out which special rule applies to everyone in that round. So, for example, I would flip this over at the beginning of the game, and this card here is going to be in effect for everyone. Now I'll go through what all the cards mean a little later, but this one is the treasure chest, and a player must reach 10 points instead of the 7 points you need to end the round. And like I say, this is in effect for everyone. But now at the end of the round, you would count the points scored as normal and add them to those from any previous rounds. Then you would award the event card according to what is shown in the bottom right hand corner of the event card. So if you have that little cup symbol with the plus, then the player with the most points at the end of the round places the card in front of themselves. And if there is a minus there, then the player with the fewest points instead will take the card and place it in front of them. And if there was a tie, then we would simply discard the card. When a player has an event card in front of them, its special rule applies only to them, and the card is kept by that player as long as its conditions are met. So for example, if the player received it because they had the fewest points, it is discarded at the end of a round if they are no longer in last position. And a player cannot have more than one event card in front of them at a time, and if they need to pick up a second card, they can choose between the new one and the old one for them to keep and discard the other. Okay, so let's take a look at each of these cards. Now this set of cards changes the effects of duo, but the duo is still worth 1 point. Here we have the hermit crab, and this effect is when a pair of crabs is played, the player takes 1 card from each discard pile. Here we have the sunfish, and its effect is when a pair of fish is played, the player adds the first 2 cards from the deck to their hand. And next we have the water rodeo. Now these new effects, each duo scores 1 point, and these new effects are, here we have the swimmers. When a pair of swimmers is placed, the player can look at an opponent's hand. They can then swap one of their cards with one of their opponents. And then we have the sharks. When a pair of sharks is played, the player steals a pair placed in front of an opponent, and they place it in front of themselves without triggering its effects. Now we're on to the change the point value cards. First we have the dance of the shells, and each shell card scores 2 points. The kraken, where each octopus card scores 1 point. And the tornado. Now this one changes the mermaid cards. Now the mermaid cards do not score any points, but a player still wins immediately if they have all 4 mermaid cards. And now we're on to change a rule. The first one here is the dance of the mermaids. If 3 mermaids are played instead of the 4, the player immediately wins the game. Then we have the treasure chest that we had a look at earlier. A player must reach 10 points instead of 7 to end the round. And then we have the diodon fish. I believe that's how it's pronounced. A player cannot end the round by saying stop. They have to say last chance. Now that's a very interesting card. And then the last 3 cards here add a new rule, the angelfish. At the end of a player's turn, if the 2 visible cards on the discard piles are the same colour, the player chooses one of them to add to their hand. The dolphins, when a player discards a collection card, shell, octopus, penguin, sailor or seahorse, the top card from the draw pile is added to their hand. And then the coral reef. A player may place a shell face down in front of them. If they do so, they are immune to all attacks, but that shell is worth no points. Well, there you go. Sea Salt and Paper, a fantastic card game, super small, delightful to play, and that's your Sea Salt and Paper Extra Pepper expansion. And I can tell you that you can get this expansion into the box with some slight, very, very slight, almost unnoticeable, to be honest, lid lift. So you can see, you can get it into your Sea Salt and Paper box. If you've sleeved your card game, well, you're not going to be able to fit it into this box because this box is now full. So what I would recommend doing is getting some form of deck box and storing your game inside of that. Well, there you have it. Extra Pepper. Oh my goodness, this changes up the game quite a bit. It's such an interesting expansion to add to the game. I'd be almost tempted to say you really need to pick this one up. You really do, because this changes up the game quite a bit. You start off drawing a random card, and that has a gaming effect on all players. But then at the end of that round, depending on what type of card it is, that card could go to either the player who's in the lead at the moment or the player who's in last place at the moment. And when they get that card, then that card only applies to them. And then at the start of the next round, a new card is drawn, and those effects will affect both players. So this really does change up the game quite a bit. The Extra Salt expansion added a few more cards and a few more abilities, but this one really takes the game up a few gears with its event card system. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to integrating that with our games of Sea Salt and Paper, and I hope you will have a look at it too. Well, I do hope you enjoyed taking a look at this little expansion with me. If you did, please consider hitting the old like button, and also please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because that would really help to grow the channel. And in the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching. Please do take care, and bye for now.